this video is a bit of a strange one and involves a warning to anyone that has a pet that has been microchipped, because one would think that if you get your pet microchipped and said pet goes missing and ends up at a vet somewhere, that they will routinely scan the pet for the chip, find out it's yours, get in touch, and then let you know where the pet is. But that is not necessarily the case, as one pet owner found out when their beloved cat went missing for several weeks. Only when it was found by someone else and taken to the vet and had to have 18 teeth removed, the microchip company then received a request to authorize or consent to the change of ownership of the cat. But of course the owner refused because it was a lost cat and they didn't consent to a change of ownership. But here came the problem. The microchip company refused to provide details of where the cat was now said to be living, because it might be a breach of the UK retained GDPR. And they might well be right. Because the processing of personal data, which would include the sharing of personal data with anybody else, needs to be done within narrow circumstances. Either consent being the most obvious one, which is not likely to apply in this case, or B, by way of a contract, which again is not going to apply in this case, a legal obligation but not including contracts, thereby forcing someone to comply with the law. But again, that's not really the case here. Vital interests, which is usually to protect somebody's life, which again doesn't really apply here. A public task, which doesn't apply here. But then we have the legitimate interests argument, which is the one that's most likely to apply here. However, there is a problem with it. Now, the legitimate interests argument may apply if it is necessary to process the personal data for your legitimate interests, as in your interest, the person to whom the data relates, or the legitimate interests of a third party, i.e. the original pet owner, and to some extent the cat, but we're really talking about the original owner. Unless, and here comes the problem, unless there is a good reason to protect the individual's personal data, which overrides those legitimate interests. So to clarify, the legitimate interest would be of a third party, the original pet owner, but the good reason to protect the individual's personal data, the new owner, or the person that wants to be the new owner, which overrides those legitimate interests of the third party original owner. Now in this case, or in many cases, that may well be the case, particularly if they want to keep the cat and they don't want you to tell the original owner where they are, or let's say they've stolen the cat or the dog, and again they don't want you to tell the original owner where they are. Although if it's shown that it might be a stolen dog, then of course that might come under a legal obligation to comply with the law. But that's probably not going to happen here, i.e. the new want-to-be owner is not likely to tell the vet that they've just stolen this dog or cat and therefore creating a legal obligation for them to provide that information to the police. That, I suggest, is probably not going to happen. And for that reason, the original owner of this cat simply had to get in touch with the police. Because the police could get in touch with the microchip company, they will release the information to the police, and then the police can then go and retrieve the cat. But as I said at the outset of this video, this just proves as a warning to you that this may happen if you are unfortunate enough to lose your dog or your cat and it turns up somewhere and they alert you that someone is trying to re-register as the new owner of the pet, but they refuse to give you the details. So if you are in any situation like this, please don't hesitate to call the police to speak to the microchip company, because that might be the only way of getting hold of the animal once again. So please do make sure you like this video, share it with somebody that you think might find this useful. Remember to subscribe, and as always, thank you for watching.